What is going on, everybody? This is Jackson from JD Sports Zone, and today I have another special Banana Ball interview with Texas Tailgaters assistant coach, Coach Penny. Coach Penny, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. How's tour going? And thank you once again.
Oh man, absolutely fired up, Jackson, to be here. Seeing all the interviews, man, you've been killing it, been crushing it, spreading the word of banana ball. Couldn't be more fired up to be here. Tour's rolling, man. The tailgaters are in a good spot. We've already clinched the playoff berth with the win of the Banana Ball Championship Open, and we're just rocking and rolling, trying to keep guys healthy, and then get the players back that have been injured throughout the year. So we're rocking and rolling.
Oh, I'm seeing all the work you guys have put out when it comes to the content, the play on the field, and getting to travel to these amazing stadiums. So, again, I appreciate your time out of your day doing this. And I want to start off before Banana Land. And I know you played with West Alabama in the GSC. West Georgia, the school I went to, was in the GSC for a little bit. I had some opportunities traveling out to GSC games. Hate West Alabama, by the way. I'm sorry to tell you that. But
It's
I
all
want
good.
to I want to ask you about, your collegiate coaching career, post-playing career. What kind of led you to Banana Land on the entertainment side of baseball, in your newfound venture in baseball?
Yeah, so I started coaching in 2017 at West Alabama. And then I got a volunteer job at Meridian Community College in 2018. And then in 2019, I got my first full-time job at Paris Junior College in Texas. Clay Cox was very good to me, offered me my first full-time job. And then from 28 from 2019 to 2024, I was at Pearl River Community College where I played at before I went to University of West Alabama. I was there for 5.5 years, won a national championship, won three conference championships, and was very fortunate to be there. They're actually playing in the World Series right now. They're not playing today, but um, they're in Enid, Oklahoma right now playing for the national championship. So that program's near and dear to my heart. I grew up there. I met my wife there. We got married there. We had our first child there. So we love Pearl River. We love that place. And then so basically going back to my playing days when I was at West Alabama, I went to the TCL, the Texas Collegiate League in College Station, and I played for the Brazos Valley Bombers. The assistant coach for the Brazos Valley Bombers was Tyler Gillum, the head coach of the Savannah Bananas. And we, fortunate for me, I was on a lot of really good teams when I was a player. And that was another really good team that I was a part of. And it started from the coaches, and me and Tyler stayed really close throughout his coaching career and my coaching career. And then everything in Banana Ball started blowing up. And, I was one of his first calls, and I'm very thankful for that. My wife's very thankful for that because now we get to live the life that we live now where we travel the world and we play in stadiums that, we never thought we'd play in front of.
That's a,
So that's
that's
basically how
absolutely.
it all started.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome to hear from, a full circle moment, being alongside Tyler Gillum to now your Banana Ball venture with the Texas Tailgaters as an assistant coach from, Pearl River to West Alabama. And now on the entertainment side of baseball, which I do want to ask you about this because I love hearing the different coaching styles relating to Banana Ball. If you could describe your coaching style in four words to do with Texas, what would that be and why?
Um, my coaching style, four big words, along with Texas. Man, to be honest with you, like I try to let these grown men be grown men. Um, and it's easy to say in this day and age that, even when I was a junior college coach, it was tough because I wanted guys to figure it out on their own. And I think like once you figure things out for yourself, you have more um you're more relatable to learn more things. For me, I never had I never had a pitching coach when I was in college. And I don't say that lightly. I respected every coach that I had. Um, but they always told me like, hey, go figure it out. Go figure it out. So everything that I've learned in my life, I've had great mentors, and but all of my pitching stuff, I basically figured it out on my own. And it's not to say that I do that now, but I want these guys to figure it out. Like it's tough. Banana ball pitching in banana ball. Every pitcher that I talk to, from a tryout to a draft, from whatever we're doing with pitchers, pitching in banana ball is the hardest thing that you're gonna do. Um, for the hitter, nothing changes. Like the only thing that changes for them is they can't step out of the box. Um, for a pitcher in banana ball, you have to be entertaining, you have to throw strikes, and you have to work fast. The camera's on you 60 to 70% of the time, and if you can't throw strikes and you can't entertain, you can't work fast, people are gone. They're not watching the game anymore, and then banana ball becomes boring. And then you have to deal with pitching coaches like me that aren't going to be happy because we're not throwing strikes, or we're not being entertaining, or we're not working fast. Um, so for me, it's more hands off. Like I want them to learn what they can get away with and then where we draw the line. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can ask some of the guys that we have now, like, Brett Sanchez, who's right now arguably one of the best arms in banana ball. Like I let him walk the boundary of entertainment and things like that until it's like, hey, okay, we need to take a step back. Or when Chris Clark first joined banana ball and he'd never played baseball where he could celebrate. Him being a professional pitcher most of his adult life, he couldn't celebrate. So now he's got to figure out, man, I don't know how to celebrate. Like all I know how is how to trash talk. So we have to draw the line. Like, hey, learn how to celebrate with your team and enjoy this side of banana ball. Um, so yeah, it's different. I mean, I want those guys to learn on their own, but I mean, it's like anything else. Like I still coach them like I coached our college guys. I talk to them like they're grown men, and I treat them like they're grown men. And they show me respect, I show them respect, and we love each other. They're part of my family. So yeah, I would say that's not four words, but it's kind of beating around of like I love them, they love me, they respect me, I respect them, and we all live. We all buy into what we're trying to do. And it's a huge family that we have.
I love hearing this perspective from, a banana ball coach because so many people, when it comes to coaching styles, they worry about the stat sheet. They worry about the scouting reports making it to the next level, the big league. But in banana ball, you can have the entertainment side of things, really show them, prove to them that they can have fun. As you mentioned, celebrate instead of trash talk on that side
Yep.
of things. So, yeah, no, it's great to hear, those side of things. I do want to ask you this from a coaching standpoint because you see the mixture of ages on the Texas Tailgaters when it comes to the pitching staff. As Brett Sanchez being a little bit of an older guy, and then you see a guy like Reese Miller who's in his early 20s. What's the biggest piece of advice relating to an entertainment side of things, varying from the veteran presences to rookies who are just getting their feet wet in professional baseball?
Um, I wanted professionals. When we walked into the draft room, like that was our goal, was we wanted professionals who had played at a high level, knows what it takes to get their work in when you do have an optional day or an off day. Because that's the hard thing about banana ball. Like we're traveling so much that I can't tell you that like, hey, we have to practice today. Like I have to give you an off day because you're married, you have a wife, like you need to go see your family, but you also understand the importance of like, hey, I need to go to the field and get my throwing in. Um, but that was the goal, man. Like when we went into the room, we wanted professionals and we wanted guys that could lead and I think we did a really good job with that, especially with like Sanchez, who had played on the visitors, but then you still had Christian Davis and Sperone and John Reed and Jimmy Lewis, Zach Blankenship. Like so, you had a good group coming back that had played banana ball, um, and Donnie Allen as well. And then you start bringing in guys like Chris Clark and Reese Miller and John Hughes, guys who have played professional baseball, but you know they can really pitch. Um, so we have leadership from both sides of it. So you have leadership from guys who have played banana ball that understand the aspects of what the everyday looks like. Meaning, hey, you're going to start tonight at 7 o'clock, but you have to be there at 10:30 to rehearse and practice, and then you got to go sign autographs for 2.5 hours, and then you're going to start your daily routine of getting ready to pitch. Um, and then you have Chris Clark, who played AAA baseball for 6 years, who's one of the smartest human beings I've ever been around when it comes to the pitching side. That can be the pitching coach in the room when I'm not in the room to help guys with their process. And we have multiple, like Christian Davis, Blankenship, like all those guys are really good with their process and understanding what their body's doing. So they're all helping each other while I'm not in the room. And that was all. People can not believe me, but it was all done by design because I wanted, if you listen to me and I trust you, and then you talk to me and I listen to you and you trust me, we all get better. And that's kind of how our pitching staff works is they all communicate with each other, they all talk to each other, they all learn from each other, and they all trust each other. And then that's what makes us tick, especially as a pitching staff. But I'm lucky, man. The guys we have are unbelievable human beings. Like I can, yesterday we had practice and my daughter was there. I was doing daddy daycare. My wife was working, and I literally left her in the dugout, and our pitchers and our players just took care of her for the total of the hour practice. Like our guys are really good dudes. But yeah, they all love each other. We learn from each other, and it's going back to what I said earlier. Like we're a huge family. Um, there's nothing that goes on with the tailgaters that we don't know about, and it's all from a love standpoint.
It's good to hear, you talk about professionals bringing in these guys for the 2026 season with the Tailgaters, building a great locker room presence. And as you said, family. That's really what Banana Ball is about, family, fans first, and everything that's provided through that. And I love your coach's mentality when it comes to putting into these guys for this season. And I actually want to ask you some fun questions relating to Banana
Yep.
Ball. Now, I asked this Coach Marks, and I related it to a beach party. I want to kind of gator this towards the tailgaters. So you have a whole pitching staff. You have a lot of hitters on the team. If you could choose four people to invite to a Texas barbecue, what are you cooking, and who are the four people you're bringing on? It can be coaches, it can be players, it can be Banana Ball TV guys. Shout out Brett Loftus. But who are those guys for you?
Yeah. So uh, I'm bringing Andrew Bartman because he's gonna grill. He's gonna cook everything. Um, and then I'm gonna bring um, probably Taj Porter for the vibe, good vibes guy. Um, and then I'm gonna bring, let's see, um, probably J5 for the music. Great taste in music. It's, yeah, I mean, it's just straight country from Texas. I mean, it's great music. And then I gotta bring a picture because if I don't bring a picture, they're gonna get mad at me when they watch this. Uh, let me see. I'm probably going to bring. I mean, it's hard for me not to say Jimmy Lewis because Jimmy's like the ultimate vibe guy. Like he is one of the funnest dudes to be around. And then I think like with all five of us together, like we're always gonna have a good time. Um, we're gonna cook some cheeseburgers because cheeseburgers, if nobody knows this, it's my favorite meal. I can literally eat a cheeseburger every day. You can ask my wife; she'll tell you. And then Bartman grills a great cheeseburger. So I think we can do like a slab of ribs. Um, we'll probably do some ribeye too. Like we're probably gonna cut some ribeye. Um, and then we're gonna have some some Gatorade. We'll call it Gatorade. We're gonna have some Gatorade there. We'll have a good time. It'll be a great tailgate.
Personally, cheeseburgers my personal favorite meal too. You
Yeah,
can't get any good cheeseburgers out here in Georgia. I mean, there's a couple barbecue places, but I might have to
yeah.
fly out to Texas for some cheeseburgers and some ribs out there. But I do want to ask you this question because you're currently on tour. You were part of the Tailgaters last season on the coaching staff, and we mentioned stadiums earlier, and you've been to College Station, Round Rock this season so far. There's been a lot of great stadiums. You were a part of last season. What has been your most favorite stadium to travel to so far? Maybe it could have been with the amenities, but what's been your favorite one so far on tour?
So I have two of them. I'll give you from like a visual and like the stadium that I wanted to go to ever since I was a little kid, and it was PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Walking downtown, walking across the bridge that first morning, and like seeing that field and seeing the river, and then walking into the stadium, and me being a junior college coach, like I'm a huge field guy. Like I worked on the field my entire life, and I walk through that stadium, and I'm looking at the grass, and I'm like, man, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life with the backdrop, with the bridges in the back. Um, the people were awesome. I met Jerome Bettis that weekend. Not a lot of people know that. You know, um, Ford McHenry was there. It was a great Jack Wilson. I mean, it was an unbelievable weekend. And then from a personal, from an emotional standpoint, College Station, playing baseball in College Station, and then, being able to play at Kyle Field and sell out Kyle Field at 102,000. Have my family there and have some family members that took care of me when I was in College Station, and that moment that I have there is it will never leave my mind and my memory. It was one of the greatest nights of banana ball history, and it was one of the best nights of my life.
Those are some awesome stadiums I can only really fathom to dream of. Personally, I love PNC Park, and I only hate to say that just because I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I love the field. And great to hear. You had a great time in College Station. From a familial background and atmosphere as well. So that kind of relates to my next question because you mentioned Jerome Bettis, you mentioned Michael McHenry, you mentioned these guys you met in Pittsburgh, and if you had a dream guest to do a collaboration, a day in the life of pitching coach with Coach Penny with you that has not been a part of Banana Ball so far, who would you choose and why?
Um, Man, that's a tough question. My favorite pitcher growing up was was Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine. I grew up in the Braves era of the '95 to '96 World Series, and I used to have season tickets to Old Turner Field, and I grew up watching Smoltz and all those guys, and to have I would like to have those three guys in the room and just like walking around and seeing what we do and like picking their brain. Um, because if one, I think they'd love it, and then two, like I think they would be able to add so much stuff to our game. Um, like the Maddox thing where he used to call all of his own pitches, and how huge that is in banana ball because we're trying to work as fast as we can. Um, with Glavin, just his pinpoint accuracy, and then Smoltz, you know, pitching from being a bullpen guy to being a starter to going back to a closing role, which is what so many of our guys do in banana ball. I think our players would learn so much from them, and I think it would just be, a bunch of guys from the South, hanging out with Glavin, Smoltz, and Maddox. Like I think it would be awesome TV to see. And then you hear stories about Maddox being one of the pranksters, one of the best pranksters in Major League Baseball, and I think he would fit in really good with our clubhouse and our clubhouse dynamic of how everybody's just always playing pranks on each other and having a good time. I think that would be absolutely amazing. So, but also to go back to PNC Park, the Pirates have two players from the same high school
Mhm.
that played in the same so I played against one of them from Central Mississippi, but Connor Griffin and Jake Mangum both went to Jackson Prep High School, which is 10 minutes down the road from the high school that I went to, and we played each other all the time. I've known Connor Griffin since he was like 9 years old, so I had to tell that story of the PNC or the Pittsburgh Pirates having two guys from Jackson, Mississippi. So
I mean, it's still great to have full circle moments like, Connor Griffin. I hate having to face Connor Griffin. He's younger than I am, and it makes me think of what I'm doing with my life. And he's like not, he's 19 years
Yeah,
old out there playing in the MLB. And then you have the three-headed monster and Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz.
yeah.
I hear about it on a consistent basis from all the Braves fans out here. So I feel like it's something they would bring amazing energy to the Tailgaters locker room with, providing great insight. So yeah.
Dude, it'd be unbelievable. Well, with Mick too, like our skip Mick, like he was coaching in that area or that area. Well, I think he was finishing up playing in that era, but he was also coaching in that era when those guys were still playing, and I'm sure they would have stories for days, and we'd be laughing for hours straight. So yeah.
So I do want to ask this next question about locker room atmosphere, and you brought up pranks and best moments relating to the clubhouse area. What has been the best prank, or who's the biggest prankster on the Texas Tailgaters roster? And what's a big moment that you remember from all the pranks throughout the seasons?
They man, like luckily for us, like us being coaches, like we kind of go into our own locker room, and like our players' locker room kind of polices itself. But I will hear some stories every now and then. I don't know if any of them are um, PG or PG-13 rated to tell, but we have some great guys who have been in a lot of locker rooms that know how to like when we're not playing well, they can keep it light and easy, and then when we are playing really well, we can still keep it very light and easy. Um, Jordan Barth is really good. Donnie Allen is good. Kyle Martin will pull some pranks. And then you have guys like J5 and Travis Munyo who have been in many locker rooms and know how to mess around. Um, but the good thing is like we were talking about like it's all super lighthearted. Like guys get it. Like they understand that like hey like okay today was my day. Like tomorrow might be somebody else's day. We also have K Court, and K Court does a wonderful job of keeping guys in check and them understanding like, all right, yeah, I screwed up. That's when a lot of the stuff starts to really come out. Is during those K Court meetings, and luckily, like I'm not involved in. Um, but those guys do a good job of keeping each other in check, and then being lighthearted to mess with guys, and then I think they understand that like, hey, we can't cross that line, but hey, like we can cross this line and we can get after it a little bit. Um, but some of them, I mean, there's a viral video going out of Brett, Donnie Allen, putting a speedo on in Tulsa and putting our home run helmet on and going out during the rain delay and putting soap all over his body and then sliding 8 miles across the tarp. It was the most unbelievable slide I've ever seen. But I mean, if you can imagine that in our locker room, that's kind of what it's like every day.
I mean, it's great to, you have a set line of discipline when, it's time to have fun and those great, amazing moments like soap all over the body and everything compared to when it's time to take it serious. So it's great to have, a balance out relating to things. But, I try to get a group of my guys together and play some wiffle ball or something. And we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that too. So, it's great to hear that. Now, I have two final questions for you, Coach Penny. Now, I've gotten a lot of various answers when I asked this question, and there's a lot of great baseball movies out there like Major League, Sandlot, Million Dollar Arm, an underrated one. If you could watch only one baseball movie for the rest of your life, which movie are you choosing?
Bull Durham.
Bo Durham? Bo
Yeah.
Durham?
It's the greatest movie. And to me, it's the most realistic. It's the most, um, first it's the most realistic, and then it's the most like how it would be in minor league baseball or in Major League Baseball at that time. Um, I think it relates to so many things. It's a love story. It's a baseball story, um, and it's what every baseball player fights at the end of their career, whether they're going to chase baseball or give it up for a girl. And that's kind of what we all face at some point in life. Um, and I think it's just the storytelling and how funny that movie is it probably is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
People don't realize how sentimental baseball movies can be, like Bull Durham. I'm a big Kevin Costner fan, so I
yeah,
love, I
same.
love, I, I love the answer there. Now, final question for you, Coach Penny. I love asking this question to every Banana Ball guest I have on. Banana Ball is prided upon fans first entertainment. What does the term fans first personally mean to you?
Um, fans first to me is doing one thing that we wish we could do for many people. It's taking your time out of the day. Maybe I'm a God fearing person. I believe in the Lord, and every now and then I'll be walking through a crowd, and I'll feel like I need to say something to some person, or I need to high five some person, or give somebody a hug. I think it's just finding one thing to do for one fan that you wish you could do for every fan that was there. Um, and luckily for us that we're surrounded by guys that try to do that in every stadium that we go to, and we're able to touch and understand and get to know people. Um, and that's what I love about our job. I don't. A couple of weeks ago, and I don't want to get emotional, but a couple of weeks ago, we got in touch with the family, and we they told us kind of what everything was going on in their life, and you know, people don't look at you, and in our organization, if you're trying to help somebody else, they want to help too. They're not going to tell you like, "Hey, I have something else going on," or "Hey, I like go find somebody else." Um, you know, we wanted to do a lot for that family, and we were able to get a lot done. And basically, all we did was ask people to help us, and they literally stopped what they were doing to help us. And that's what our organization is all about. It's doing one thing that we wish we could do for everybody there. Um, fortunately for us, the stories are endless. Um, of people that we help and we try to contact, and um, I can literally go on all day about everything that like this organization has done for other people, and also what they've done for the people that work in the organization, including myself. That's what fans first is. They take care of us. They take care of the fans. Um, I mean, I can't put into words to how much and how blessed I am to be where I am today.
And I think it's very well said, and I love everything that Banana Ball is prided upon. And I think you and the rest of the Tailgaters crew and everybody in Banana Ball really provide, because you never know if that's going to be the only time a fan is going to go to a baseball game, especially in the smaller areas like Montana, because they don't have really stadiums out there, and you never know what somebody is going through. So it's
Correct.
great to hear that you have there's guys like you in the organization that can make somebody's day and smile. Because at the end of the day, that's all really the game of baseball and life should really be about. So, I really appreciate you again for your time, taking time mid-tour, especially landing in Corpus Christi or earlier today to tell your story, tell the story about the Tailgaters, and thank you once again, truly, Coach Penny.
Absolutely, Jackson. I appreciate it, man. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Let me know.